Okay, thank you so much again. That was a great history lesson on PAC provisions, and I am really excited to see what you guys get done in this school year since that stark increase was really impressive from last year. So again, my name is Carrie. I'm the programs manager at the Food Bank of Northern Nevada, and we have the regional distribution center for donated food, and we help PAC provisions fill their shelves. We have over 150 partner agencies here in Northern Nevada, and we are actually the only food bank in Northern Nevada that distributes food to pantries that need food. We actually also have a full SNAP team, myself and 4 SNAP outreach workers, and we help to help people apply for SNAP either on the phone or in person. And we travel throughout all of Northern Nevada. So we have some people who stay in Reno and Sparks area, and some people who travel to Winnemucca 3 times a week. So we're all over helping folks submit that SNAP application. Next slide, please. So what is SNAP? SNAP, it stands for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and it's a federal program that provides benefits for low-income individuals, and they use that to purchase food. So SNAP benefits go on a card. It's called an EBT card, and folks can go into a grocery store that accepts SNAP and use those benefits on food. This program was also known as food stamps back in the day, and they changed it to SNAP to be a little bit more descriptive of what the program is. This program is administered by the USDA Food and Nutrition Service, and it is nationwide. So there, in every single region, there's grocery stores that accept SNAP. Next slide. So a household is defined as people who are living together and eating together. The reason this is important is you apply for SNAP with your household. And it makes sense if you're living with a roommate and your refrigerator is split in half and you're not sharing food with that person, you wouldn't be the same household as that person. But if you are living with your mother and you're cooking dinner together every single night, you would be the same household as that person and you would apply for SNAP together. So that is important when we're talking about students and applying for SNAP, because we want to make sure that there's clear lines between how your household is defined and who you will be sharing those SNAP benefits with. Next slide, and we'll get into that a little bit more here in a minute. There is a lot of information that will be needed to process your application, but our team and PAC Provisions are trained to help you with this information and help you get your application submitted. So I'll run through this list quickly. You need a state issued ID or something that has your picture on it, just something that has your picture and your name. You can even use your student ID to just show that you are the person that you're applying for. Proof of Nevada residency. So this can be kind of combined with other things that you'll need for your application. You could provide a rent receipt or a driver's license, something showing that you're a Nevada resident. Some earnings. If you are working, you'll need to show paycheck stubs for at least 30 days, but the more paycheck stubs, the better, so that they can get an accurate representation of your earnings. And then any other earnings that you have. So if you receive Social Security, disability, unemployment benefits, all of that is going to be important in processing your case. Also, any expenses. So if you have rent or mortgage payments that you pay, utility bills, all of that is going to be important in painting that picture of what your life looks like. And then any resources, we just have to put that on the application. So we'll need to ask about any bank accounts that you have, or any property that you own. And as I said, all of this information will be submitted, and it is submitted to the Nevada State Welfare Office. And we have a partnership with them, a very strong partnership where we're able to help with these applications and assist clients in getting all their information in so that their application can be submitted smoothly. And with that, oh, sorry. Yeah, no, go ahead to the next slide. So there are some guidelines to determine whether you're eligible for the program or not. The most important guideline that I'll get into is income. And you can see on the slide that if you're a family and no one in the family is disabled, you could earn up to $2,082 for a household of one. And it goes all the way down to $5,700 for a household of six. This is a little bit misleading because it really just depends. So if you are a person making a certain amount of money and your expenses are a certain amount, all that information is going to be submitted to the Nevada Welfare Office, and they're going to make the determination based on everything in your life, whether you're approved or not. So you could make $2,000 a month and be denied based on other information that is submitted, but you could make 2,000 and be approved based on your expenses. So what we always say is we would be happy to help you apply. If you think you may be eligible and if you are struggling with food insecurity, we will definitely help you apply, and then the welfare office will make that determination on whether you're eligible or not. Next slide. And with that, I am going to send it over to Daniel for some Nevada stats and some information specifically for students.
So these are some stats from the Center of Budget and Policy Priorities, and this actually pertains specifically to Nevada stats. So who does SNAP reach? In the fiscal year of 2019, it reached 423,000 Nevada residents, which is about 14% of the population. That ends up being 1 in 7 Nevadans. And as a nation, 38 million participants are actually 38 million Americans participate in SNAP, which is about 12% of the population, which is 1 in 9. So Nevada is a little bit higher than the whole US average. In Nevada, almost 62% of SNAP participants are in families with children. More than 30% are in families with members who are elderly or have disabilities. More than 44% are in working families. And as far as the national averages, it's more than 66% of SNAP participants are in families with children. Almost 36% are in families with members who are elderly or have disabilities, and almost 42% are in working families. So this just kind of goes to show that the benefit ends up meeting the people that need it the most, working families, children, elderly, and also the disabled. And next slide, please. A little bit more stats. So most SNAP participants in Nevada are poor. So income at or below 50% of poverty level is that dark shade. It makes up 41% of the participants in Nevada. Income between 51% to 100% of poverty level is that slightly lighter shade, which is at 36% of the participants. And income above 100% of poverty level is 23%. Many Nevadan households struggle to put food on the table. The most recent data show that 12.8% of households were food insecure or struggled to afford a nutritional diet. Median income was 7% below the 2007 level after adjusting for inflation. 12.5% of population lived below the poverty line. 16.9 of children live below the poverty line. 9.5 of elderly live below the poverty line. So SNAP reaches, again, that needy population, which is about 86% of eligible individuals, 86% of eligible individuals participated in SNAP in Nevada. 81% of eligible workers participated as well. SNAP kept 73,000 people out of poverty in Nevada, including 39,000 children per year between 2013 and 2017 on average. The next slide, please. Okay, students for SNAP. So this pertains specifically to the students who are looking to apply. Most able-bodied adult students ages from 18 to 49 enrolled in college or other institutions of higher education at least half-time are not eligible for SNAP benefits. However, students may be eligible to get SNAP benefits if they get public assistance benefits from a Title IV-A program, take part in state or federally financed work-study programs, work at least 20 hours a week, or if they're caring for a dependent household member under the age of 6. Also, if they're caring for a dependent household member over the age of 5, but under the age of 12, and they don't have adequate childcare available to them. Also, if you are assigned or placed in a college or certain other schools through Work Investment Act, a program under Section 236 or Trade Act of 1974, an employment and training program under the Food Stamp Act, or employment and training operated by the state or local government. Next slide, please. Right there. Perfect. So because the state has that kind of strict rule, if you're participating in school, you typically aren't eligible unless you meet some of those requirements. During this COVID, there is a temporary update. So the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021 temporarily expands SNAP eligibility to include students enrolled at least half-time in an institution of higher education who either are eligible to participate in state or federally financed work study during the regular school year as determined by the institution of higher education, or if you have an expected family contribution EFC of 0 in the current academic year. Beginning on January 16th, 2021, students who meet one of the 2 criteria outlined above may receive SNAP if they meet all other financial and non-financial SNAP eligibility criteria. The new temporary exemption will be in effect until 30 days after the COVID-19 public health emergency is lifted. FNS will update the web page when the COVID-19 public health emergency ends. Under SNAP regular rules, only students who actually participate in state or federally funded work study are eligible. The new temporary exemptions expand SNAP eligibility to students who are eligible to participate in work study during the regular school year without the requirement that they actually participate. Also, all students receiving the maximum Pell Grant have an EFC of 0 in the 2020 through 2021 award year. The maximum Pell Grants are $3,172 per semester for students enrolled full-time, $2,379 per semester for students enrolled 3/4 time, and $1,586 per semester for students enrolled half-time. Verification of Pell Grant amount may be found on the financial aid award letter and may be used as verification that a student has a EFC of $0. Next slide, please. So again, what are the student exemptions? If you're 17 years old or younger, or 50 years old and older, if you are physically or mentally unfit, have a disability, if you receive TANF, which is temporary assistance for needy families, are enrolled in TANF job opportunity and basic skills program, work at least 20 hours a week in paid employment, participate in a state or federally financed work study program. If you participate in an on-the-job training program, again, if you care for a child under the age of 6, if you care for a child age 6 to 11 and do not have adequate childcare, and if you are a single parent enrolled full-time in college and taking care of a child under 12. And then next, I'll hand it over to Elizabeth.
All right, so I'll start with this topic. So SNAP should not feel embarrassing. So there's definitely like this stigma surrounding the use of like food stamps, especially that term. And that's really important to break this. So the state of Nevada has taken this initiative to have the benefits put on your EBT card, like mentioned before, and it's just a regular card that looks like a debit or credit card that you just use at the register. And there's no like awkwardness or anything, you just use it normally. And there is like always no shame in ever using resources that are made available to you when you need to use them. Okay. Next slide, please. Could you go to the next slide? Thank you. All right. Yeah. So especially like because of COVID and then transportation is like a big issue, especially around, like with college students. There are a few online stores that will accept your EBT card, namely Amazon and Walmart. So with either of these guys, you unfortunately cannot use your benefits to cover the delivery fees. So those can be paid out of pocket or with TANF cash if you have access to that. But with Amazon, there is like a $35 limit that you have to exceed in order to get the free home delivery. But if you're not able to or do not want to spend the $35, there is like a $4 to $7 delivery charge that you can pay out of pocket or with the TANF cash. And then with Walmart, it's pretty much the same, but that there is a $8 to $10 delivery fee, and that's going to depend a lot on the location, the foods you're asking for, and then the time that you select for the delivery. Walmart does though offer some sort of like subscription plan where you can pay $12.95 per month for the groceries, or just $98 per year. And like always, those prices can change. But these are two big retailers that will accept your EBT card if you have some issues with transportation or would rather just not go out into a busy store and have your groceries delivered to you instead. Okay. And then if you are able to travel, there are quite a few stores pretty close to the university where SNAP benefits are accepted, namely, 7-Eleven, the Zippy Mart, CVS Pharmacy, Rayleigh's, Winco Foods, and the Dollar Tree. If you're ever curious about whether a store will accept it, your like SNAP benefits or not, you can always look for that little like SNAP poster. It's really similar to the one in the corner of this like slide. And it's usually going to say like SNAP accepted or EBT accepted. And then if anything, you could always ask somebody inside and see if those kinds of benefits are accepted. But as you can see, there are quite a few stores near the university. So if you're able to like carpool or have time to use public transportation, that would be super awesome. All right, and then as for what you can and cannot buy with SNAP, there's quite a few things. It looks like the cannot buy list is really big, but it's really not. It's just like they're very like specific things that you cannot buy. So what you can buy is kind of what you think about when you think about food. So fruits, vegetables, meat and fish, dairy products, including like oat milk, almond milk, lactose-free milk, breads and cereals, snacks, and then non-alcoholic beverages. So like smoothies and shakes and stuff. And then also you can buy seeds and plants. So as long as they produce food and then you're buying them at a store that accepts SNAP benefits, those are definitely a good investment. And then for as what you can't buy, so beer, wine, liquor, and cigarettes, those are a really big one. Vitamins, medicines, and supplements, unfortunately, cannot be bought with SNAP benefits. And then, anything that says it's specifically not applicable for SNAP, that won't be purchased either. So live animals cannot be purchased. Prepared foods are hot foods. So like if a store has some sort of like food court, any like chicken tenders or corn dogs that you buy there will not be covered, and neither will like hot rotisserie chickens. And then any non-food items, unfortunately, so like hygiene products and toiletries cannot be bought with SNAP benefits. All right, and then some tips for SNAP shoppers. So like I mentioned before, if you're ever curious about whether a store accepts SNAP benefits or not, always look for those posters, you know, the SNAP accepted, EBT accepted. And if you're ever like confused or not sure, you can always ask a cashier and I'm sure they'll know. Um, and then as for like the EBT card, like your PIN should be a secret, just like any other PIN for a debit card or a password. So the difference with this one is versus like a bank card is that if somebody does end up using your benefits with your PIN, you won't be able to recuperate those benefits. So those are going to just be lost. So if you ever do lose your card or it gets stolen, make sure you report it immediately. There's a number on the back of the SNAP card, which you should add to your phone or take a picture of. And that will definitely help your case. And then, yeah, it's always a good idea to separate your purchases. So if you're buying food and then hygiene products, just kind of keep those separate. It'll make the transaction go a little bit more smoothly. And then finally, there are quite a few things like infant formula, ice, and drinking water that can be bought with SNAP benefits. So those are always good to keep in mind. All right, and then as for some of our local offices, we have one in Reno and one in Sparks. So the one in Reno is on South Virginia Street across from the Atlantis behind the Burlington Coat Factory. And then the Sparks office is on Greenbrae in the shopping center across from the 7-Eleven. So with either of these guys, they're still kind of limited on allowing people going inside just because of COVID. So if you are able to give them a call or complete your business online, that's definitely going to be preferred. All right, and then finally, there's like a really cool app. It's called Fresh EBT. So this you can download through the Google Play Store or on like the App Store. So this will allow you to have like very immediate access to your EBT balance. And then it also is really cool because it gives you coupons on like both food items and then other kinds of like hygiene products and stuff. And then also it gives you information on different job opportunities or other ways to earn income, which is really nice. And then it also gives you information on healthy recipes, and it keeps track of how much you're spending and then where you're spending it as well.